I'd like to welcome those of you who are joining us on Facebook or YouTube or even on Instagram to our Lineage special announcement today. There's 4 of our team members on the live stream today. We don't anticipate this being an incredibly long one. We thank you for joining us, those of you who have taken the time out of your schedule or those of you who are watching us on catch up. We have here four of us, our team here. We have myself, Adam Ramdin. The others will introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into what we're going to talk about.
Okay, thanks, Adam. I'm Ashley. I'm the photographer and designer for Lineage. Yeah, that's me.
All right.
I am Clive Coutet. I'm the media director for Lineage. I'm also a co-founder alongside Adam. And yeah, that's me.
And lastly, I'm Anton. I look after social media and head of sound as well.
All right, guys, thank you for that. Those of you who are watching us, just in the comment section, just let us know where you're watching from. We just like to see where, the spread of who's watching Lineage and whereabouts in the world you're joining us from. We really appreciate that. So we're going to go right ahead. We have essentially 3 or 4 announcements that we're going to go into today. So the first one, I'm going to hand over to Ashley. He's our head of photography and design. And we've been working on a really, we believe, exciting product that you're going to love, that's going to come out in various formats, hopefully in the next week or 2. It's all designed, it's all done. I'm going to hand over to Ashley. He's going to speak us through what it is and share with you guys, we believe, exciting product that you're going to love.
Cool.
Ashley.
Yeah, thanks very much, Adam. So at Lineage, I guess kind of going back to the start, we've always been passionate in terms of how we started. We've always been passionate about Lineage being an educational tool that connects people with history. And I think one thing we always say is that it's in this generation, sometimes it's hard to connect people with history because a lot of people, especially young people, don't automatically go to a library, pick up a book. So we've always been passionate about bringing that history through new media, just making it really accessible. And obviously what we've done so far has been mainly our video series and, short, very accessible videos that can be shared on social media. But there are times where there's a lot more information that we can't actually fit into the videos. There's so much backstory behind a lot of the things that you see in the episodes. So we want to develop a platform that still has that kind of emphasis on new media at its heart, but also is able to bring you much more information and some of the backstory and extra things about the stories that we're sharing through Lineage. So we have been working for the last few months now on bringing all of the information that's in the episodes and a bit more to the platform of digital books. So digital iBooks. We've been working on all of the episodes, all of the content from the first series, turning that into digital books. And we're going to give you a quick preview. This is a world exclusive, never before seen, but just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like and how that extra kind of information kind of fits in there. So I'm just going to share my screen and I'm going to show you it. This actually will work at the moment. The platform this will work on is for Apple platforms, but that would work over iPhones, iPads, Macs. And I'll start off by showing you one of these iBooks running on an iPad. So let me just open up my Apple Books app, and you can see the study guide just here. If I tap on it, I'll try and sort of talk you through the gestures I'm doing as we open up. You can see sort of where I was reading from. Hopefully you guys can still see that.
No, it's gone black.
Oh, it's gone dark. Okay, not to worry. I'm going to switch over to the Mac version just very quickly. Bear with me a second, guys. There you go. Sorry, we'll switch over. We'll bring that back afterwards, but very, very similar actually on the computer platform as well. So we'll open up, and one thing you should be able to see. Oh, sorry, technical issues. Last but not least, let's give it a go on the phone. Yeah, there's no way to sort of test these things before you put them live. So I think we're all right with this one. So as we were saying, we're going to open up, and you can see here, it's just running on the phone. You can see basically that all of the episodes are actually kind of gone through. You've got a quick kind of preview here, but if you go into a particular episode, as we tap on it, it takes us into the guide, and we can actually read through it in much more detail. So we can read through the actual text that tells us a little bit of the backstory behind that episode. But all of the content in these iBooks is actually interactive as well. So for example, we've got loads and loads of images, loads more video that we actually shot while we were filming the episodes, but we hadn't necessarily used in the episodes. But all that information isn't going to waste. We actually have it here, and you can go through and see kind of any of the connected media. Extra information is kind of listed, and you can actually scroll through to see that extra information. And what's great about these guides is they also contain all of the episodes. So that might have been a bit loud. But you can see as you scroll through all the episodes, all that extra information is listed. And it's just a great way to really get much deeper with the information that we're actually sharing. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything on that.
You want to talk about how many we have?
Yeah.
And how people can access them?
Yeah, really cool. Thanks, Clive. So yeah, we have basically the guides that we finished so far from season 1, and every single episode in season 1 has an accompanying section within one of the guides. We've split them up, so it's just not too much information in one single study guide. So there'll be 5 separate guides that we'll be sharing, and within there you have the set episodes. They've not been released yet. There's probably just a couple of weeks to go before they're actually out available for the public. But like we said, we're giving you guys a sneak preview, and yeah, when they are released, you're going to be able to download them from the Apple Books platform. So if you've got any Apple device, whether that's a phone, a tablet, or a computer, you'll be able to download it onto that platform.
Great. I think these will be excellent for Bible study resources, small groups, and things like that. People can use them in their homes individually, but also as they're designed for the group. Don't they have questions at the back of them, or like discussion questions and things like that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So every single episode, we've got, not only does it present the information, but you've got some really in-depth discussion questions. So if you are learning with these guides as a group, it's going to really start off some deep discussions and really help to get the point across from the episode. Because if you're familiar with Lineage, it's not just about the historical information being presented, but the actual life lessons we can apply to it that affect our faith. And so that's covered in the guides as well.
Cool. And the guides also have the videos in them as well?
Yeah, all of the videos, as well as some bonus content.
Great.
Yeah, questions are coming. We'll announce it when it's out. What we're waiting for those of you for a little bit more detail, we just have to get our seller account authorized by iTunes. Once that's authorized, it should be in the next 3 or 4 days. Then we just have to upload them and get them out. So we're not exactly sure on the timeline, but that's why we say a couple of weeks, but it may be less. But once it's out, we'll put it on social media, let you guys know, and you can go to the go and download them. So
we have a question here. What about the Android users? I was just about to touch on that. I think I'll leave that to Ashley.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, we've started out on the Apple platform, but we don't want to leave anyone behind. So we're looking into ways. We can't announce anything concrete yet, but we're looking into ways we can we'll be able to share these with as wide an audience as we can.
I think Clive will share that in an announcement in just a few minutes.
Yeah. When I say we can't share it yet, I mean in a couple of seconds when Clive goes into it.
So the next thing that we wanted to share with you guys, the big thing as well, if that wasn't big enough, and that is the thing we've been, doing a few sneak previews on behind the scenes and a few posters that have gone out, but it's season 3. So that's what we've been waiting for like over a year now. Anton, over to you. Just want to share some information on that.
Sure. So the eagerly anticipated season 3 is about to launch very soon, within the next few days, essentially. So for all our Patreon users, there's some good announcements coming for you. But for everybody else, Friday coming, the 26th at 6 p.m., episode 1 will be launching. So really excited. Everything's ready to go. We've been busy editing. Clive has been working flat out, getting the final edits done, and it's looking good. So we're really excited. So that's Friday, the 26th. So Friday coming at 6 p.m. And for those of you that have been following Lineage for a while, you'd be aware that we used to release episodes earlier in the week. We're now changing to Friday consistently. So every Friday, it can be like weekly, we'll be releasing episodes. So just to give you a brief rundown of the format. So this season is broken down into 4 parts. So the first part is Creation to Kings, and that's where we'll be starting. So episode 1 will start there. And in the other section, we have Kings to Captivity, and then we go into New Testament with Manger to Messiah, and then we've got Pentecost to Patmos. So they'll be coming later on in the year and into 2021 as well. But we're starting with Creation to Kings. So yeah, it's finally here. I know everyone's been on Instagram and Facebook have been messaging, when's it coming? Can we get a date? Can we get a date? So it's finally here, the 26th, Friday at 6 p.m. And that's 6 p.m. BST, British Standard Time.
6 p.m. British time. So if you're on the East Coast, that's going to be 1 p.m. If you're on the West Coast, that is West Coast of America. That would be what 10 a.m. If you're in Australia, that'll be 4 a.m. in the morning. If you're in Sydney, and anyway, you guys do the maths and figure out exactly 6 p.m. UK time, and we're looking forward to that. Clive, some great footage that we've seen you putting together this week. Obviously, we guys have seen the preview, and it's looking good. And I think you guys will be excited for it and share it. Now, this series goes through the Bible, so it's the story of God's people throughout the ages. So it's something you can share with anyone who's interested in learning about the story of the Bible. It's not so much an archaeological series as it is. It's filmed on site, but it's showing the stories of these key characters in the Bible and the plan of salvation throughout Scripture. So yeah, there's been a couple of questions. Sorry, Clive, go ahead.
I was just going to say that typically season 1 and season 2, we've kind of focused as this is the exact kind of place where these things have taken place. In season 3, we don't always know the exact location, but we know the region. So we've more focused on the region rather than the exact location and kind of the environment of the places where these were. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. Yeah.
Cool. There's been a couple of questions that have come in about donation or things like that. And that's the third thing we wanted to share with you guys. And that is well, there's a couple of ways. If any of you want to donate to Lineage, there's essentially 2 ways you can do that. And the first one, there's actually 3 ways. The first one is you can send us go to our website. There's a donate page on the front page. There's also a separate donate page. You can send us a one-off donation through PayPal. Whatever you give goes to our production costs or our filming costs. So if you're able to help us out, it's always greatly appreciated, whether it's something small or something larger. We really appreciate everything that comes in. So you can do that through PayPal. That's a one-off donation. There's also a way you can donate. And if you want to donate you're in the US and you want a tax-deductible receipt, do send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll email you the directions on how to do that. It's through a ministry called OCI, and then we just need to kind of let you know how that happens. You essentially go to OCI's website, you click a donation to OCI, and then Lineage is the project, and then they're able to give you a tax-deductible receipt. The third way, that's one we're really excited about, is a website called Patreon. Patreon is a community of people that support a ministry or different creatives that are out there. So if you want to go to patreon.com/lineage journey, you can sign up to donate a certain amount each month. It could be as low as $2 or anything that goes all the way up. And at each level, you got a $10 Patreon, a $25 Patreon. There's different rewards that we would give you. It could be, you may get one-off gifts of T-shirts or DVDs or coloring books, or there may be different monthly rewards that you can tap into, such as, for example, we've changed them this week. So there are some new monthly rewards that we've made available to different categories. Some of them would include being part of a monthly Google Hangout call with some of us from Lineage, as well as other people from the same level and up from you on Patreon. So you get to kind of meet people in the community. Other ones would be a question and answer video that we're going to release on a monthly basis, where you guys submit the questions, we film the videos and release it on Patreon just for our patrons. Another one for Patreon is that for those at a certain level and up, it would be early access to the videos, in that we would release the videos on Patreon. So this week, even though the video is releasing on YouTube and Facebook on Friday, to those of you who are signed up as our patrons at a certain level and up, I think it's a $10 level and up, we would put the videos released to you. I believe it's 2 days early from the Wednesday. So those who, of you who are patrons, you would get an early release there on Patreon, just as an extra reward for your support for the ministry and for your loyalty to us. We really appreciate all of those who have given on Patreon or PayPal or in different ways over the years. And if you're interested in signing up, do go to our website or go to patreon.com/Lineage Journey. And whatever you give there helps to support our production costs, then we're really appreciative for that. And, join the Patreon community that we have there, and, tap into some of the rewards and updates that we have. So that's a little bit of update on that on Patreon. If you've got any questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions that have just come in. What does OCI stand for?
Outpost Centers International. It's a ministry in America that's kind of an umbrella organization for other ministries. And so maybe in the comments in a section, we'll put down the website there. If someone could spell out Patreon, is P-A-T-E-R. No, sorry, scratch. P-A-T-R-E-I-O-N. No, scratch that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the link in the chat.
Just follow the link; it's easier.
I did get an A in English at GCSE level, guys. Honestly.
Have you had apple crumble?
So anyway, patreon.com. Yeah, it's in the comments. Clive's putting it down there.
Yeah, and OCI as well. Which one is that one, Adam?
I'll send it you in a sec.
Okay. All right. So, thank you. Okay, maybe I can go on to the next phase while you post that.
Yeah, sure. You talk about the next one. Yep.
Yeah. So next up, we have our website. So we initially created our website as kind of a means for finding out more information about the various characters that we were kind of filming. Sometimes we would go to these locations and we would see that history was almost being changed. So you could type in, for example, Iona of Columba, and if you type him in Google, first thing that pops up on Wikipedia tells you that his training school was actually a monastery, which is actually incorrect. It was not a monastery. It was a Bible-based missionary training school. So given this, we decided to create a website that would really focus on giving out truthful facts with kind of book references, more videos, more information, almost like a Reformation encyclopedia. So initially we did that for season 1, and that was, I think we started the website early 2017. We kind of rushed it out because we didn't realize how big the ministry would grow. But since then, we've obviously done season 2, which is Adventist History, and we've now moved on to season 3, which is Biblical History. And we've outgrown our website. And, especially initially when we did it, we were only really focusing on the Reformation. So in all of that, functionality, user experience, all of that was kind of lost along the way. Our shop as well wasn't functioning as well as it wanted to be. We've had numerous people message us about that. So we're actually in the process of revamping our entire website. It's going to be way more interactive. We're going to categorize all our content a lot better so it's easier to find. We're going to have a timeline feature so that you'll be able to kind of get a bird's eye view of where everything kind of lined up in the whole period of time. We're also going to improve, all our Meet the Team pages, and every single page that we currently have on our website right now is going to completely get a facelift. We're going to modernize it and kind of just make it more user friendly, but as well as still having the encyclopedia style kind of content. So, you know, those who are homeschooling parents, or those who are students who want to find out more information, or those who just want to study some of these characters, can easily find particular people and get background information about them, not just what they did in the Reformation or Adventist history, but what was their family like, you know, what's some testimonies that they had, what's some really key moments in their lives, away from kind of the Reformation or away from kind of biblical history, but like getting married and children. You know, we're going to go into a lot more depth with some of these characters. So we're going to almost like strip it back, make some of these articles a bit more bite-sized, but have more bite-sized articles on each particular person. As well as that, something for the future is, like we just mentioned about the iBooks course that we have, we're looking to have an online course on our website. So we'd basically have that same content in formats that anyone with any device can access and kind of go through an entire course on our website. That is probably a bit further away, but that's in the long-term plans. And then we're also going to want to create a few more courses after that, kind of giving more detail, maybe for college degree, maybe for high school, but we're quite a while away from that for now. But we're kind of taking stepping stones to kind of branch out. So we have more than just the videos, but we kind of have an online resource that anybody can access, all ages who want to, you know, study the Great Controversy deeper, or study the Reformation deeper, or study Adventist history deeper. They can use Lineage Journey as a platform for these things. Did I miss anything, guys?
No, I think you covered everything. Definitely to Clive's point about stuff like the online course and things that we want to have in the future. You know, all of this will be possible. We're all volunteers in our team. So, you know, platforms like Patreon are really, really massive for us, because from a stretch goal point of view, you know, we have stretch goals and things that we want to do. That's possibly with the donations that you guys are giving us. So really appreciate everything that you guys are doing and donating to support Lineage. So yeah, we've got loads of ideas.
Great. So I think we're going to move into a kind of a Q&A session. If anyone has any questions, fire them to us now. I have a list here of some of the stuff that people have been asking previously, and I'm just gonna fire some of them out. Question: what would you suggest to anyone struggling to retain dates and facts in history?
I don't mind going first. So it's something that even for myself can be a struggle. You know, it's not always easy to retain facts. You know, if it's something that you're very interested in, then it's like, okay, you might focus on one particular, you know, point in time, learn that first, then move on to another point. But I think stuff like videos, like what we've got now, you know, kind of our halo content, why we started Lineage was kind of to create short, shareable, bite-sized chunks. So break it down into bite-sized chunks. So watch a video, play it back, take some notes as you're watching the video, take down some key dates, take down the names, key places, and then from there, you just kind of refer back to it. So you're kind of almost like revising. So you watch a video, you make some notes, you go back and revise it. And then eventually it starts to stick, and the dates, and, you know, prominent dates will stand out. And as you kind of, you know, build, let's say you're looking at Martin Luther, then you start looking at the German Reformation as a whole, you know, other key players and locations start to fall into place, and it makes the dates easy to remember. So, you know, start with bite-sized things. So reading a whole book might be difficult, but the videos, for example, are a massive help to that. Bite-sized articles, which is one of the reasons why we're going to break down some of the articles we've got into smaller articles to make it easier for you to retain the information.
Okay. For the person who's asking when our premiere is, it's this coming Friday when we release on YouTube and Facebook. And for those who support us on Patreon, we're giving an early release access on Wednesday just to cap it up. So this coming Wednesday and Friday, Wednesday for Patreon, Friday for YouTube and Facebook. The next question is just wondering where you get your funding for the productions.
We get different donations that come in via Patreon, via PayPal. We also have received some donations from some larger ministries or some entities that has helped us out. We did get some grants from ASI that we were very thankful for, but that helped us film last year. They've also helped us on, pledged to help us out this year. that goes some way to a good way to covering some of our costs, but it doesn't cover everything. And so we have to rely on other, donations that come in, just free will donations that come in. We, as has been mentioned, we're volunteers. And so, we volunteer our time and the money goes towards production and, filming. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think also to add to that, we try and produce some things that fund the ministry. We are a self-supporting ministry as well. So, for example, these T-shirts that 3 of us are modeling, are things obviously related to the first season. But yeah, they're one of the things that's available to buy in the shop. All the stuff we sell in the shop goes straight back into production of the next episodes and other things we're doing.
DVD, books.
Yeah, DVDs, books, coloring books, everything.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Can you break down what creation to Kings is? Is that Genesis to 2 Kings? Maybe we can go a bit more detail into each category.
Sure. Creation to Kings starts with creation, as you'd expect, and there's 14 episodes. So we don't cover, everything, but we go through 14 episodes that go from creation to the time of King David. So we cover some of the key characters such as Abraham, Moses, Joseph, Sodom, Gomorrah, Lot, cities of refuge, the judges, the time of the judges, the wandering of the Israelites in the wilderness. So there's 14 episodes that covers that time period of biblical history. And then from Kings to captivity covers from Solomon through to Daniel and Queen Esther, towards the end of the Old Testament. Yeah.
Okay, I have another question here. With all the scams on computers, it would be nice to purchase materials within the US. It takes a much shorter time to receive these materials. And just after that question is, where are you guys from? So maybe we can touch on that and answer that question at the same time.
Great question. Primarily the ministry was started in the UK, but we're kind of global now because we have people in Australia, we have people in South Africa. Clive, who was one of the founders who started it in the UK, now lives in California. So it's a good question, those of you who are wondering, even though our website at the minute is listed in Great British pounds because of our kind of bank account is here, the items that we have that will be shipped to you do ship from the United States. So the T-shirts we have over there, we have coloring books over there, we have DVDs over there, and you would get them in the US format. So yeah. I don't know if does that answer all the question?
Yeah, that answers the question. So I live in the US now. I live at Weimar Institute in California. So as soon as we get an order in, it comes to us and we ship them out. If we're out of stock, then they'll probably ship from England, but it's very rarely that they're out of stock. We typically ship, I would say 95% of stuff from within the United States. So unfortunately, like Adam said, our website is in pounds. That's because everything is registered in the UK and in England, but they do ship from the US. So items typically take within a week to receive you once we ship them out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question. What do you guys think about the seasons of Lineage based on Adventist history in different continents? We have an amazingly interesting history in Zimbabwe. I'd absolutely love to watch that.
I would love to watch that too, and I'd love to film it. You're thinking along where our minds were thinking. Before we filmed season 3, one of the ideas was to film how different Adventist pioneers, and not just Adventists, but different Christian missionaries, how it started around the world, but not even just Christian missionaries, how the Christian faith was kept alive through the centuries, even before the missionaries got there. So we do have those ideas as well, and we do hope to get to it. I've read some of the history of Zimbabwe in particular. I think it's fascinating how the church started in Southern Africa. So we'd love to do that. It may not be in the next year, but we do hope and plan to get to that. So yeah, thank you for that question and keep us in prayer, and we hope to do that.
Okay. Is there an easier way to order your study materials and give donations? I guess we kind of answered that with the shipping. Yeah, I don't think there's anything more we need to elaborate on that unless anyone else does.
Don't think so. I mean, those are the 3 ways we have, and that's kind of it, really.
Okay. These 2 questions are kind of linked, so I'm going to share both of them at the same time. Is there a possibility that your programs can be translated into other languages? And is it possible to volunteer with translating episodes so that you can include the subtitles on YouTube?
Yes and yes.
Yes, so there's two ways. Do you want to write them?
Yeah, we take translations, and it's community based. So email Aiko at, you maybe put that in the thing, Aiko at lineagejourney.com, and she said, and my wife will set you up with that.
Another thing that you can do is you can actually translate stuff directly on YouTube. So how it works is called community translations. So within YouTube itself, you can translate it into your various language and then submit it to us, and then we can check it and publish it. That's probably the easiest way to do it, because it's all built within YouTube. So it's very straightforward. So if you check that out, I think it's called community. Let me just double check. Community
contributions.
Community contributions, that's it. Let me see if I can put a link in. Contributions. While we do that, I'll just ask the next question, and then I'll find it after. How long does it take to record the scene, the audio sections of a season?
The audio is recorded with the sound. I mean, the video. So
let's break down the video then. How long does it take us?
Sure. So, I mean, typically we would film, we don't really film episodes one by one. We film by location. So it might be that we're in one location and we shoot for 3 episodes there, and then we move on to another location. So in one day, for example, we might shoot 10 episodes. You know, it could be 5, it could be 6, just depends on the location.
Not a full episode.
Not a full episode, exactly. So we might
There's 10 parts of different episodes.
Exactly, different paragraphs. Fortunately, Adam is very good at learning lines. So when it comes to learning large paragraphs, we don't have to do so much takes, you know, so we're very fortunate in that sense. Sometimes we just do maybe 1 or 2 takes, you know. On more difficult paragraphs, it could be maybe 4 or 5, you know, just to get it perfect. So it doesn't take us that long to record paragraphs, but to get a whole episode done, because we're doing it by location, it could take a little while. A classic example of that is episode 1 for season 3. That was difficult for us to get everything for that episode completed. There's a paragraph that needs to complete, actually the opening paragraph that needs to be recorded, and because of, you know, COVID-19 and travel restrictions, we couldn't really get that done. And that's an example where we shot in certain location, but we're waiting to get the final paragraph done, the first paragraph done, before we could complete that episode. So hope that answers your question. But unfortunately, Adam's very fast at learning lines, so we don't have to record things over and over, which reduces our film time dramatically and saves us money too.
Yeah.
So just going back to the previous question about subtitles and how you can add them yourself. For those of you who are watching on YouTube right now, where the like button is on the top right-hand corner, just underneath the video, you then have a dislike button and then a share, and then an add to playlist and a save and a flag. After that is 3 dots on the right-hand side. If you click that and click add translations, and you can actually just submit translations to us. So when you're actually on our YouTube video itself, click those 3 dots and you should be able to add translations, and then it will take you to a window where you can type stuff up yourself. Another question that has just come in is, will you take people along on your trips for viewing of old landmarks?
On a filming trip, no, most likely not, because we move very fast and very, very fast. We don't. Sometimes the sites that you see on camera, we may have been there for 5-10 minutes, filmed and gone. It wasn't really a tourist viewing. But we are planning, and we don't know when, but we do have a desire to do a tour, like a Reformation tour or a sites tour of some of these landmarks. Before COVID-19, we were tentatively planning that for 2021. We'll see what the world looks like at the end of this year. But that is in our plans to do a historical tour of some of these sites. Yeah, and that would be where obviously people would be able to come along, and we would spend time in each site explaining it and giving you guys a chance to visit and you know, enjoy the different venues and be inspired by the history of those places.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to bring kind of additional people on some of these trips with us. Like Adam said, we're just moving so fast through these places. We like to do that so that we can keep our budgets lower. So we try and hit multiple locations at one time. And because of that, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a tourist day for us. It's not that we get to really explore some of these areas. We go to where we need to go, get the B-roll, and kind of move on. I think some of these locations I've been there, and I would love to go back to really just soak it all in and take time to really kind of reflect over some of these places. But it's not that kind of trip for us, and typically we're moving quickly.
Yeah.
It's still a privilege to get to go to these places, but you know.
Yeah.
Any more questions, Clive?
Yeah, one has just come in. It says, do you guys have personal Instagram? I would like to invite you guys onto Bible study with me and 4 of my friends. Can I contact you after the Sabbath? Is this interested for you guys? Probably just hit us up on our Instagram, on our Lineage Journey Instagram channel, on Instagram. Send us a message and we can kind of discuss that as a team and then kind of move on and kind of get back to you.
Some of us do have personal accounts. You probably see us on some of the, probably tagged in some of the posts. Anton often tags us in some of the group posts. So,
yeah. Another question: do you design the T-shirts? I really like them, and will you add other ones in the future?
Ashley designs them.
Yeah, it was actually funny. Like we kind of came up with the idea. We were having a team meeting, I think it was a little while ago, and we came up with the idea of having T-shirts, and I just kind of zoned out for the rest of the meeting and started drawing the T-shirts with sort of ridiculous dad puns as well. But yeah, you can see there's the drawings, and then depending on the reformer, you've got a particular slogan on them. So yeah, they are available from yeah. So #know your history. So yeah, if you are interested, you can get them on the website. Hopefully we can come up with some more soon as well. I think how many are out at the moment, Clive? Do you know?
I think we have 4, 5, 6, 5.
No. Wesley, Luther, Tyndale, Knox.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
it.
We have a black.
Oh, we have those new plain black ones.
Yeah, a black polo, right? Yeah.
No, just a black T-shirt with white lineage on it, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
I'll put the link to the shop also on the chat. But please, guys, if it's Sabbath in your area, then you know, don't buy them now. Don't buy them now. Another question that's just come in: what software do you use to edit? Doing a Kahoot on Lineage Journey at AY another hour. Yeah, I guess we could do that at some time. What software do we use? We pretty much use the Adobe suite. So After Effects, Premiere Pro, and Audition is what we use to edit. I think, Ashley, maybe you can talk about what you use for the photos, and what do you use to clean up the audio if it needs cleaning up.
Yeah. Sorry, Anton, do you want to go first, actually?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a Logic guy, so I use Logic. I do use Audition as well. So between Logic mainly and then Audition.
Yeah, and from the photos point of view, mainly the Adobe suite as well, using Lightroom to edit, and Photoshop sometimes. Most of the design for things like posters, so I'll tend to handle graphics as well. So I'll do that within Photoshop or sometimes InDesign. And the T-shirts mostly are drawn, or any of the illustrations are drawn digitally using the Procreate app, and then just transferred straight onto the shirts.
Oh, someone just mentioned about our shopping bags. Are they on the store yet, or are they coming soon?
They're not on the shop yet. We haven't put them up. They're sat in a box in my loft at the minute.
So there is the motivation Adam needs to get them on the website. So
Coming soon.
Thank you very much for the person who commented that. My mom is asking, where's your T-shirt, Anton?
Let's say, lockdown has had some impact on my physique, and It's too small. It's too small. Auntie.
You've been doing too many push-ups, isn't it?
Yeah, I need a larger t-shirt, Auntie.
We should say they're available in bigger sizes, but
Yeah, they are
Anton does the
available
tight shirt look.
Another question is, do you have any free apps that I could use to take great photos on iPhone 10 Max? Maybe Anton, Ashley, you can.
Yeah, ironically, I tend to just use the camera app myself, but yeah, then edit in Lightroom. So it's funny just mentioning that though. We do, it's, you know, like we talked a little bit in the last live stream that we are pretty versatile when we go to some of these places. From a filming point of view, there are times that we have to film some things on our phone. Sometimes I'll literally get a panorama of the place, kind of just using a phone as well. So it's Jasper always says this is not about the equipment. Yeah, it's about how you use it. So yeah, don't worry about the equipment so much. It's just being able to use what you've got.
Okay, a few more questions just come in. I would love to see a lengthier documentary or two that moves a little slower. They are so good and fast that I get a movie effect. This is true. We kind of intentionally do that because we're trying to reach a specific demographic. And also we're trying to reach the unchurched too. There have been plans in place to make longer documentaries. I guess focusing on season 3 has slowed that down, but I think myself and Adam had spoken about doing longer documentaries with some of the reformers. Really focusing on, you know, more information about them, because we're really just giving you a snapshot. We're trying not to give you too much information. We're trying to give you enough information to want to go and search out these characters for yourself and do some research. But I think that's something that's definitely in the plans. I remember we shot a few interviews for a longer documentary already. We just never got around to proceeding with that. Next question, will you do any end time prophecy videos in the future?
Possibly not out of the equation. I mean,
Yeah.
we would maybe. I mean, I would. One of my, yeah. It's. Yeah.
I know. We've talked about doing a 7 churches season, so kind of.
We're definitely doing the 7 churches. The idea of focusing on some of the biblical empires is and their role and their end time role as well would be something we'd like to do. I saw there's another question about how long it takes to research a town and character before filming. It varies on the person. If I don't know anything about them, then it takes longer. If it's someone that I've already just done general personal research, read about a lot, then it's obviously a lot quicker. So it's hard to say, to be honest. It could be very quick, or it could be quite lengthy.
Mm-hmm. Another question, what kind of cameras do you use? Typically for the filming, we use Sony A7S Mark IIIs for season 3, and for season 1 and 2, it was A7S II. These are all Sony cameras. Reason we use those is because some of the places that we're trying to film, we are trying to be very lightweight, covert, we're traveling a lot. And they're just a lot smaller cameras, and they still shoot in 4K and good quality. So yeah, we typically use Sonys for that reason. Ashley, you want to talk about videos?
Well, photos, yeah. Photos. Yeah, in joke, we do try and be covert. That's not as easy with photos because we have slightly bigger cameras. So mainly for myself, I use Nikon cameras. But we also have other team members who'll shoot some photos as well. And they'll tend to use, I think, Canons as well. So it's a range. But like we said earlier, it's, you know, whatever we have at the time to capture the moment. Also, did you mention drones?
Yeah, so I can mention drones. So just going back to the video side of things, the Sonys are so much smaller than the Canons and the Nikons, and just portability. If you have a smaller camera, you have a smaller gimbal, you have smaller accessories that go with it. So that's kind of the reason why. In terms of drone, we typically use DJI drones. Season 1, we use a DJI Phantom 4, I think.
Yeah.
Phantom 4. And then season 2, we use the 4 Pro Obsidian. And then season 3, again, we shrunk everything down. So we're using a DJI Mavic Pro 2, just because of the size and portability. We're not saying these equipments are the best equipment out there. but we're kind of the mindset that it needs to be small, portable, and we kind of got to use what we have. So that's typically why we're using those stuff. And Anton, audio-wise?
So for audio, we use, for recording, a Zoom H6. That's what we use to record season 3 and half of season 2. And season 1, we use a Zoom H4n. So, and then we just use lapel mics, which is just nice and covert and easy to get into buildings without too much attention. We do use Rode NTG 4s as well as a boom mic where we can, if on like the outdoor, more windier shots.
Nice. Okay, a couple more questions again. Just as we think we're finishing, we've got a few more. Adam, how do you retain so much information in a short amount of time to film? I see your large library in the background. Amazing.
Well, thank you about the library. Retain. The good Lord blesses, I guess, is what I'd say.
And speak about preparation, because sometimes you put them in your ears when we're traveling.
Yeah, I do it more closer to the time of actual filming. I would read through the paragraph 6 to 10 times, roughly, and then practice it. I tend to memorize longer sentences rather than shorter ones. And I always try and remember the first 2 words in a sentence to get me kickstarted for that sentence. Those are a few of the little things I've done. I think, yeah,
I think we typically write the scripts out beforehand. So we've got a general outline, but once Adam is delivering those scripts, it's not word for word. It's more like he's getting all the same information that's on that script, but he's kind of just making it his own. So I wouldn't say that every paragraph is identical to the script. It kind of varies, but yeah, that's it. For season 3, did you guys run into any opposition while filming in the Middle East?
Great question. There were some tough places to film, and you got to be more sensitive in places of religious significance, especially to people of other faiths. So yeah, Egypt was pretty tough to film there. There's more restrictions in Egypt. Israel was actually probably easier of all of them. I guess they're used to having so many tourists and camera people there. So when if there's big signs up saying you can't film, then obviously we don't film. And where we need to ask permission, we ask permission. And where there's no sign, we will film. And if someone tells us to leave, then we leave. So yeah. It varies. It varies on where we go. And sometimes we get hassle in some of the most remote places that we wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. For season 3, we obviously could not fly a drone in Egypt. It was impossible. We couldn't even bring it into the country. But Jordan, we were able to. Israel, we actually had a drone license that we managed to get for the entire time that we're filming. So we try and do everything as much as we can above board and to the letter of the law as much as possible. Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things with season 3 was these places are places of religious significance. So you get a lot of coach loads of pilgrims and tourists that will come to places. So it did mean a lot of getting up super early in the morning. I remember when we went to the top of Mount Nebo to film an episode on Moses, we had to get there. We had to be basically there before it opened up. And sort of, I think we got halfway through filming and then suddenly this coach load of tourists came. So that's always something we were kind of battling with, I think, more than kind of direct opposition. But yeah, God was good. We got a way around it.
So we just have the final question before we're going to wrap up. How does one find the research and the books used for season 1 and 2 to show others and also go deeper into the character's journey presented? So I guess the overall question is, how do you get your research? What resources do you use?
Great question. I think if you go to our website, look at some of the articles that Suki has written, there is always a suggested extra reading there. So if you go to our website, click on Reformation, click the episode or the articles, you'll find a lengthy article. Then at the bottom, there's nearly always some suggested extra reading there. Some just general books. Obviously, Great Controversy is an excellent one. Another good book is called Truth Triumphant by B.G. Wilkinson. Those are just a couple of ones off the top of my head, but there's a lot more on the website.
Yeah, and if you do get the I was going to say, if you do get the study guides when they come out, every episode in the study guide will have a bibliography at the end. So all the references are in there. So if you do want to take it further, it'll be easy to do that from the study guides.
There was a question about Suki's lineage. She's actually from Sri Lanka, but she lives in Australia at the moment. I think that's it for all the questions. Thank you, guys. One more question. What happened to Jasper? Where is he at now? Jasper's still very much part of the team. He just couldn't make it today. He's actively involved in some ministry in Southern California at the moment, a homeless ministry through this COVID period, feeding people. So he was unable to make it today.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us. Those of you who joined us on Facebook, YouTube, and those of you who are watching on Catch Up. So just brief overview. Season 3 is going to launch our first video next Friday on June the 26th at 6 p.m. It will launch earlier to those on Patreon who are our patrons on the Wednesday. If you want to sign up to either one, go to our website. You can click on the links there. Thank you guys for joining us. May God bless you. And we'll look forward to seeing you on a future live stream again in probably a month or so's time. So God bless you and have a good evening and rest of the day wherever you are.